Today we have so much in store for you. We are going to go on a virtual library tour. And you may have never been to the Saegertown area library, or you may have not been there in a while since we've been closed. So join us for our second episode of Remember Books. I'm so glad you stayed. So let's go to the library.
Welcome to the Saegertown Area Library. We are closed and our library is very empty. We're missing everyone so much and we can't wait to open to the community again. Here we have a corner of acknowledgement plaques. This community has given so much and hardworking people needed to be acknowledged just to get us into this building that we're in. We have a recommended reads shelf that we keep changing and current for people to see what there is. Right now it's got biographies on it mostly. There's a display case that we keep filled different things monthly and it's empty right now. This is our card catalog. We have a little picture of the old-fashioned card catalog that is now serving us with a computer. And you can look up to see if we have a book in the library or if another library may have it. All along the wall here is our patron computers that you are welcome to use. This shelf here is our newest fiction and nonfiction shelf. Right now you are looking at the new books for March. Unfortunately, it's back there, but we are pausing purchasing books right now for obvious reasons with the COVID crisis. But we will be back when we open again. We will get ourselves to book buying again. We have some printers for your use, color and black and white, of course. And a lovely love sign, a love flag. Love your library. Please love us. That doorway is a kitchen. Nice garbage can there. Along this back wall is a nice selection of DVD movies, and they are free to loan for 3 days at a time. And we keep that very current. A lot of nice DVDs, nice collection we have. This are the stacks. They begin with A and they wind around. These two sections right here have been what we call weeded. While we're closed, we're doing a project of weeding, and that is taking old books that have not been checked out for at least 5 years off the shelf to make room for new books. And it also makes browsing a lot easier. You can see how tight these stacks are, these shelves are, and that is what we were working on while we're closed, is to weed those out and make room for new and nicer browsing. You have some, of course, music CDs. Some paperback romance spinners. And the circulation desk. There's always community information on our circulation desk, brochures and things. And then there's Max. Max the moose. He's always dressed and ready to welcome you. A nice look down the stacks there, where the fiction winds around alphabetically. And those orange containers are what we call playaways, and they're audiobooks that you can take anywhere with whatever headphones you have, or earbuds. Nice comfortable chair. As you can see, our library is wide open and also cozy at the same time. Excuse me. This is the beginning of our Christian fiction section. The newest work on top, the newest books we have on top. The rest of this shelf is audiobooks, and across is large print, which also winds around the other side. And then we have biography and some history on that shelf. All the way down on the right are audiobooks, and then at the end of these shelves are some paperback fiction, mysteries, westerns. All of the linoleum floor is our nonfiction, and this nice poster here gives you a guide to the nonfiction section with the Dewey Decimal System. You can see what you're looking for, or you can always ask a librarian to help you. But it starts with 0, 100, 200, and winds around that room. Now this is a community space. There's meetings, people doing puzzles there, career link classes, activities of all kinds, and then that shorter table there is often where our young children do crafts for story time. There's a little bit of reference and the big dictionary and the back side of the stacks. That dark hallway there is our restrooms, and right in front of you is our teen space. Small as it is, but it is a locked, safe case for teens to display artwork, poetry, stories, anything they want to share. Transcending Teen Turf, and that was a gift from the Jordan Family Foundation and was sponsored by our TAB group, Teen Advisory Board, that requested that. We're always looking for Teen Advisory Board members, so when we open again, if you're interested, just talk to any librarian about that. This nice cozy cove is where you can read a newspaper or magazine. These leather chairs are the most comfortable chairs in the library, for you to know. This U-shaped cove is where our young adult fiction is, YA or teen. All the books on the top of those shelves are the newest books we have. There's a community table. This is the beginning of our graphic novel section, and this is a collection that we're growing. It was very sparse, and we are growing this collection due to a generous grant from the Crawford Heritage Community Foundation. And that's a few of our new ones. And when we open, we will continue to build that collection as we purchase more graphic novels with that generous grant from the Crawford Heritage Community Foundation. This section winds around, and it begins the juvenile graphic novel section in the next two cases there. And our newest books are facing up. There is a modern day retelling of Little Women on the right, a purple book, and there's New Kid by Jerry Craft. It's been on the best-selling graphic novel list for quite a while. And there's new juvenile books. The next couple of sections are juvenile fiction, and the newest books are always on the top shelf. That's a nice series by Kate DiCamillo. There's a wanted sign for TAB members, Teen Advisory Board. So we are always looking for them. And one of our many plaques acknowledging the Jordan Family Foundation and their continued generosity to the library. Without their generosity, our library would not thrive as it does in this community. There is these coves again, they wind around. They're all juvenile fiction, continued. And then the taller stacks and around is juvenile nonfiction. And there is some picture books, holiday picture books in those sections. And the Bernice Patterson Children's Room. And what a room it is. This room is also going through some updates and transitions. Due to the Jordan Family Foundation grant, we are improving this room with a new puppet show, a new computer desk, and a new children's computer. This is where we have story time on these risers. The children sit and listen. This beautiful mural is done by a senior at Saegertown High School. It was part of their senior project, and I wish I could remember the young man's name. It was years ago. But those walls were white before he did that. It was just a really nice addition to the library. What you're looking at here is all the picture books. Children's picture books wind around A to Z, of course. And there's some board books, some games and puzzles, some more games and toys, and some soft cover books, chapter books, and easy readers. And that is our present computer desk and computer, which will be updated, as I said. Thank you for joining me on this library tour. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.
So the second part of remembering books is to browse through a library or a bookstore and discover something new and how that feels. It's so exciting. And I have discovered something new at the Saegertown Area Library that I want to share with you. As was mentioned in the tour, we are growing our graphic novel section, and it's something new for me. I had no idea that I liked graphic novels. I had no idea how beautiful they were in the artwork and the graphic. And I want to share with you this book. It's called Poe's Stories and Poems by Gareth, Hinds. And I'm going to insert pictures of this book because the graphics and the artwork are just amazing. Now, when I first read Edgar Allan Poe in school, we studied him, and he honestly just wasn't my favorite. But I did always enjoy The Raven. And that is what I want to share with you today, The Raven. And like I said, I will insert photos in because I don't want you to miss the art. I don't want you to miss the beautiful pictures in The Raven. Now, I chose The Raven also because it is National Poetry Month, and The Raven is really a poem. And what I absolutely loved about the way this was written is you have to really read it out loud to appreciate it. There is a rhyming meter that Poe does just amazingly. And when you hear it out loud, you hear the music of it, really. It's got a rhythm. It's faster pace in some areas and slower in others, but you really start hearing the beat. And so listen for that as I read it. And as I said, I will put the photos and the drawings, the beautiful illustrations in here, because I actually learned from these drawings. It is different than I imagined in my own mind, but it is very accurate. So I'll just begin. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. "Only this, and nothing more."
Ah, distinctly I remember, it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had sought to borrow from my books a wreath of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels named Lenore, nameless here forevermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door, some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This is it, and nothing more." Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore. But the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping, tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door. Darkness there, and nothing more. Deep into the darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortals ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word, "Lenore?" This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word, "Lenore?" Merely this, and nothing more. Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning, soon again I heard a tapping, something louder than before. "Surely," said I, "surely there is something at my window lattice. Let me see then what there it is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, and nothing more." Open here I flung the shutter, when with many a flirt and flutter in there stepped a stately raven, of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mien of lord or lady, perched above my chamber door, perched above a busted palace just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more. Then this ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore. "Though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou," I said, art sure no craven, ghastly grim and ancient raven, wandering from the nightly shore, tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Much I marvelled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast above the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such name as Nevermore. But the raven sitting lonely on that placid bust spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour. Nothing further than he uttered, not a feather than he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, Other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before. Then the bird said, Nevermore. Startled at the stillness broken by reply so aptly spoken, Doubtless, said I, what it utters is its only stock and store, caught from some unhappy master, whom unmerciful disaster followed fast and followed faster, till his songs one burden bore, till the dirges of his hopes that melancholy burden bore of never, nevermore. But the raven still beguiling all my fancy into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of bird and bust and door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking fancy unto fancy, thinking that this ominous bird of yore, what this grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt, and ominous bird of yore meant in croaking nevermore. Thus I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining on the cushion's velvet lining, that the lamplight gloated o'er, but whose velvet lining, with the lamplight gloated o'er, she shall press, ah, nevermore. Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer, swung by seraphim, whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he hath sent thee, respite, and nepenthe from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff this kind nepenthe, and forget this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, whether tempter sent, or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, by that heaven that bends above us, by that God we both adore, tell this soul with sorrow laden, if within the distant Aidenn it shall clasp a sainted maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Clasp a rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels name Lenore? Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Be that word our sign of parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked upstarting, get thee back into the tempest and the night's Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that lie thy soul hath spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken, quit the bust above my door, take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas just above my chamber door, and his eyes have all the seeming of a demon that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws the shadow on the floor, and my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore.
Thank you for joining us on this week's Remember Books. Next time on Remember Books, we will talk about a beloved book again and share another title with you. So see you next time. Bye-bye.